677-424-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Welcome in, folks, and on a gorgeous day, the sun is shining, yes, high atop downtown Grand Rapids, live in West Michigan. I'm Justin Barkley, and we have 2 weeks now, just 2 weeks in the countdown now to Election Day. And man, oh man, are things starting to heat up. That's right, Whitmer, Dixon, round 2. Happening tonight as well on TV with a second debate. A lot of folks looking forward to that one. An absolute shellacking in the first. There'll be different watch parties. We'll tell you about where you can see it coming up and what to expect.
Hang on! News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
That's the stories that matter most. We'll be talking about these around the water cooler, at the dinner table, no matter where you are. These are those stories. Powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage, helping you put a little bit more money back in your pocket. Things are tight right now. We know everything from gas to groceries costs more. Shouldn't be as tough as it is these days to get through. And, of course, I'd like to help you fix some of that. And you have custom solutions for everyone. They helped us save thousands, and folks in this audience have done the same. Call Dave Galloway and the fans at Heartland Home Mortgage today, 616-974-9105, or you can go online to hhmlending.com. Working hard for you.
Number 1.
Rishi Sunak has become the prime minister. He's the third person to hold the job in 2 months there in the UK after winning the race to replace Liz Truss, who quit last week. It's a revolving door. How long will he stay? And what's this mean for the rest of the folks there in the United Kingdom, Europe, and, of course, over here across the pond? Maybe dig into a little bit more of that if we can in our after show today. The midterm elections are just 2 weeks away. Every seat in the House, 35 in the Senate, up for grabs. Republicans can take the majority from Democrats by flipping 5 seats in the House and 1 in the Senate. And yesterday, we heard of some possible shenanigans, some foreign interference. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit as well. On the way, debate night, the second and final debate between Governor Whitmer and challenger Tudor Dixon, takes place at 7 p.m. tonight on the campus of Oakland University. Folks will be watching to see if Tudor Dixon can strike a knockout blow in this debate. And last time, a stunned and stumbling Whitmer, just sort of rambling all over the canvas. To use a bit of an analogy, she was stunned. She got smacked and hard. She didn't expect, I think, Whitmer or Dixon to come out as hard as she did against her. And I think there were a lot of people that were impressed by that performance, looking to seal the deal tonight as polls tighten. And they told us just a couple of weeks ago, the Detroit Free Press, a 17-point difference as folks getting in their votes. Now, if you like to change you made an absentee ballot vote, maybe you've already mailed that in, or you can spoil that, change your vote. It's possible to do that. Get a hold of your clerk and find out if you've decided, well, you're learning more now. Maybe you've changed your mind about something. This is a race, and this election will come down to the wire. Don't want to over dramatize it, but I don't really think it's possible to over exaggerate the importance of this election in defeating the 3 proposals that are on the ballot. If passed, they could fundamentally transform our state. And folks, I mean, there's a lot at stake right now. How are you? Are you better off now than you were just 2 and 4 years ago? Are you better off now? Paying more at the pump, paying more at the grocery store for everything. The Democrats own this. Of course, Whitmer owns the heartbreaking effects that we said yesterday. We reported kids in schools that were shut down because of this governor. Test scores lowest than ever before. Now we're seeing the craziness that's happening in the schools, what they're being taught. And of course, what's available to them, the sexually explicit materials in the library, it's just absolutely heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, some of the things that we're seeing. And of course, that all took place, parents waking up because they were finally aware as those kids were sent home, doing the virtual school and all that, they were finally aware of what's actually happening in schools. And it's shocking, not to say the least, of course, of which is thousands dead sent from sick hospitals into nursing homes, thousands of seniors dead because of Whitmer and her policy. Just a handful of Democrat governors had this policy. She was one of them. Cuomo, who of course has been disposed of. Whitmer, Wolf in Pennsylvania, Newsom in California, and I'm forgetting the fifth. But these are major issues that people are going to look at. Not only that, 71% now say the country headed in the wrong direction, according to the latest poll. 71%. And folks, this is what they'll be voting on. Yeah, I know. Well, we get caught up in the policy of everything. We get caught up in the right versus left, et cetera. But no. This is what people are going to be voting on. Don't get it twisted. In fact, CBS did a focus group. I don't know if you saw this story. CBS did a focus group. They had a rough time of it. So did MSDNC. I got some great audio today from these groups. On Deface the Nation, they asked voters a couple of different. These are bipartisan. These are folks of both Republican and Democrat angles. They found out they actually agreed on much of the subjects discussed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Post-politician lockdown stress is what we should call it. This is LaShawn, a Democrat. I can play through this. It's about 7 minutes. I'll put the entire clip, by the way, over on the website if you want to check it out. Yes, it'll be up on the stack. You can see it a little bit later, but it is important. It's a video that shows these people agreeing on pretty much every topic that this woman brings up from the Face the Nation. They're agreeing on almost every topic. This has got to be absolutely staggering, frightening for parents. Let's get into a few more of these.
Yes.
LaShawn, how would you describe it?
I would say it's unstable because
this is the economy right now. She's asking about the economy.
Describe the current state of the U.S. economy.
Oh, I would say scary.
Scary.
Yes.
LaShawn, how would you describe it?
I would say it's unstable because it's just so much going on.
John, in one word, how would you describe the U.S. economy?
Horrible.
Horrible.
In regards with inflation. I watched last week a bag of 6-ounce broccoli go from $1.99 to this week being $2.49.
Can I see a show of hands? Is anyone driving less because of the cost of gasoline? So you're still filling up your gas tank and still driving despite prices climbing higher.
You have to. We won't survive if
just to go to work. I drive 11 hours to go to
wow.
work. I live in East Texas, work in New Mexico.
By the way, they went through all of these different topics. The conversation went from crime to the economy. And yes, they even touched on some of the other things that are facing us. Here's a quote. All these elementary schools and middle schools having woke culture pushed on them from the LGBTQ plus community for sexual identity and gender. We should be pushing the actual school studies, math, social studies, and science, John, a Republican, said. LaShawn, a Democrat with 8 children, agreed. Let me say that again. LaShawn, a Democrat with 8 children, agreed. She said, yes, this is a major problem. Hang on, let me see.
And so I worry about their education.
When you said your top issue was crime, what did you have in mind?
Robberies and, murders, stabbings. And it's like every time you turn on the news, somebody killed their baby. And
it's so horrible. She's right. Constantly being inundated with it. It looks like this is the piece where she talks about education.
About this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But children they're really influenced. You can teach them one thing at home, but when they go to school, they're just as much influenced by their teachers and their surroundings. And we should have more input, the parents, of what we want them to learn.
Imagine that. Republicans and Democrats agree on this. And what are the Democrats doing right now? What are they doing at the level of, the office for governor? What are they doing in Congress? What are they doing at president level? Biden, Whitmer, the rest of them, Pelosi, they want to push this whole idea, this crazy proposal 3 is pushing the idea that parents don't have consent. Parents can't be involved in what happens at school. They can't even know what's happening at school. In fact, some in the Michigan Department of Education, they want you to hide as teachers. They want you to hide what you're doing and saying to the kids. Now, I know there are a lot of good teachers out there that completely disagree with this, and they're having a really tough time right now. They're not sure how do you fight this from the inside. Some of these books that are out there on the shelves, we're seeing 1,300 people strong come in at Dearborn, and of course, protest at the city at the school board meeting. These are Republicans and Democrats united. This is why I continue to tell you what is happening here is bigger than any sort of politics. What is happening here is a movement. The poll I showed you, 71% say U.S. heading in the wrong direction. This one is out today. About 71% of voters said the United States headed back in the wrong direction, and only 20% said it's on the right. Now, who are these delusional 20% of the people? There are a few people. I don't think it's as high as 20, but there are a few delusional people that absolutely, completely are disconnected from reality. They're on Twitter. I see them quite a bit on Twitter. They're on social media, and some of them the most vocal. But according to a poll by Hart Research Associates and Public Opinion Strategies for NBC, pollsters noted that it's the 6th out of 7th of such polls where the wrong track answered has been higher than 70%. Higher than 70%. By the way, this isn't the only panel that went sideways over the weekend. Some of these Sunday shows, man, they really, really got it handed to them. And, this is, I believe, a bit of taking the temperature of what is to come. We'll break it down. The latest MSDNC panel slamming reporters' attempts to bait them into talking about a conversation that Democrats really want us to be all fired up about.
Coming up over New York City.
We'll get into that coming up in moments.
School bus driver in a traffic jam, staring at the faces in a rearview mirror. Looking at the
man, I'm talking to you. Have you experienced any low energy, motivation, weight gain, muscle loss, any of those issues? Maybe irritability, impatience, anxiety, depression? It may not be your fault. Could be your testosterone levels. The folks at Mentality want to help. They are a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. And we need you. We need you to be the best father, the best husband. And, of course, the best showing up in your calling on a daily basis. We need you in this fight. We can't do it alone. We need the men to rise up. Here in our own state and, of course, across the country, you're under attack. And it may not be your fault. Low testosterone levels could be caused by diet, stress, the environment, all kinds of different things. Now, I don't mean the environment as in climate change or anything like that, but I mean your environment, the things that are around you. Check out Mentality today at lowtusa.com. That's low, the letter T, USA.com. Go to lowtusa.com to find out more. All right, folks. Man, we are fired up. I'm ready to go. Sorry about the Diet could be your own fault. Facebook user who's showing up weird on here. I'm not sure who this is, but this is what it looks like. Facebook user. It could be your own fault, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't know what's been done to their food, particularly in the hormones of some of the food. A lot of people just aren't aware of what kind of hormones go into your beef, into the milk, into the chicken, and how some of those products that you eat could actually impact your hormone production. A lot of people don't know that. In fact, a lot of the processed food, yeah, that's part of it. But even if you think you're eating healthy and clean, I mean, you could eat vegetables and chicken and beef and still get some of the hormones, and it could mess with you. Have you ever seen this picture? There is a picture. I think it's the 1960s JFK phys ed, I think is what they did. So it's a phys ed. Let's see. Yeah, oh yeah, here's the video. Oh man, the video is something else. This guy, let me see if I can find some. This is just a guy talking about this. But let me see if I can.
We don't turn this.
Let me show you the actual footage. This is from the 1960s. And this guy's just talking about. But look at the difference between. Now I know this is just physical fitness, but look at the difference of high school. These are high school boys in gym class. They look like men today. I mean, these guys are ripped. These are high school seniors. High school seniors. Well, now these kids are they're playing video games and they're not. But look at the difference. They got mustaches. They got all the facial hair and everything. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's been so much of a change? Huh? Interesting. Just an observation. I think there could be a couple of different reasons for this. But why do you think there's such of a change, such of a difference with our kids? Yeah, think about that. All right. By the way, the stuff they're doing to our food and the stuff they're doing to the environment, and I don't mean, again, climate change, but the things that we face, plastics also cause a big issue with this as well. Could be a problem. No man buns either. Yeah. Hang on, folks. We got to get back on the air. Welcome in. It's News Radio 1300 and 1069 FM. Yeah, we appreciate you being here with us today. Just 2 weeks until election time. Second debate happening tonight. And I believe, let me get you all of the places that you can hear and watch the debate tonight. It's Whitmer Dixon, the rematch, round 2. Folks watching all throughout the state. Now, it's interesting. The first debate wasn't televised on the east side of the state. Now, isn't that interesting? This debate will be. So it's for all the marbles. I know folks are interested in that. We're going to have a watch party tonight, Ottawa County Patriots. I'll be there. I believe they open the doors at 5:30. I'll speak around 6-ish, somewhere in there. And then the watch party happens at 7. They'll have a few more speakers as well. Ryan Kelly, John Gibbs. It looks like also tonight at the Ottawa County Patriots meeting, you'll be able to hear from folks like Pat Colbeck and many others, discussing some very important conversation and topics about the proposals, about folks that are running, school board members, et cetera. You'll hear from all of them tonight. All right, so it was a rough weekend for folks in the media. I showed you this audio about the focus group that stunned CBS. They were looking for, abortion is our biggest issue. Abortion, we've got to get. Oh no, it was the economy. And the craziest thing is Democrats and Republicans actually agreed with each other on a lot of things. Like Pittsburgh area, I guess someone from MSDNC goes in and interviews some folks she calls Trump voters. on January 6th. Now, they have been pushing this January 6th thing and over and over and over again. And now they say they want him to testify, but they won't allow him to do it live. And part of the reason why they've been doing this, they've been trying to erode support for Trump, particularly when it comes to the 2024 election. Here's what an MSNBC host had to contend with when she asked questions. These folks fired back.
Mastriano was at the insurrection, and he was photographed breaching one of the restricted areas. Is that okay?
Which area? Because I saw video where Capitol officers were taking away barriers and unlocking doors for people. So, I mean,
they opened the gates.
So it shouldn't be disqualifying for an elected official if they participated in January 6th?
He didn't strike anybody. He didn't hurt anybody.
And the only one that died was a protester there, not a Capitol police
unarmed
officer.
Female veteran.
That's the only one that died.
That's the only one who died.
A police officer did die.
No, it was a stroke.
That's
not on site.
What's wild to me? What's wild to me watching this, and you can watch the full version. We may play it a little bit more in the after show. Is how connected with reality they are, and I don't mean these guys. I agree with them. No, it's how connected to the actual facts that they are. Most people watching mainstream media sources aren't going to have some of the facts at their disposals like these individuals did. But boy, oh boy, were they able to refute every single thing that she said. It was tough. Anything she brought up. Speaking of which, there was a little bit of an incident on The View last night or yesterday that Ted Cruz got into it with him and some audience members. We got that as well in debates. DeSantis has smoked his opponent, Charlie Crist, last night in the Florida debate. And speaking of election deniers denying elections, we've got one denying a future election that hasn't even come yet to pass. The latest from what Hillary Clinton is saying. Coming up in just moments. Stand by, folks. We are live and loaded. Lux on West Michigan Live. Yeah, if you watch that video, you know it is. It's a wild one. It is a wild one. Okay, hang on, folks. I got to say good morning because I have not said good morning to a lot of folks. Yeah, Pops is right. Ashley Babbitt. That's who the person they were mentioning. The only person that died that day was a protester who was shot by a man who never should have taken that shot. Will it be live, the debate? Yes, the debate will be live at 7. And can you see it on something besides Channel 8? I'm assuming you'll be able to see it on the internet, too. And I'm assuming you'll be able to watch it later, probably like on YouTube or someplace like that, Bruce. Let me see. Hang on. I've got the debate info here. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Republican challenger Tudor Dixon will debate Tuesday night, the final time. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. On Saturday, former President Barack Obama will be in Detroit to campaign with Whitmer. Oh. Boy, they are quaking in their boots, are they not? All right. I'm not seeing in the article here about where to watch it. Oh, it's Associated Press, that's why. I believe it's Fox 17 in Grand Rapids. How to watch. Here we go. How to watch. 1 hour live debate hosted by Channel 7 in Detroit, WXYZ, Channel 17 out of Grand Rapids, WXMI, and Fox 47, WSYM, wherever that is. It'll be hosted at Oakland University Center for Civic Engagement. The management of Channel 7 announced Freep.com will host an embed of the debate. So it looks like people will have the debate. You'll be able to watch it online, and then I think you'll be able to probably watch that on YouTube as well. There will be a live stream and an archive to go back and watch. So, and then we're covering all of that tomorrow morning. Shirley, good morning. Michelle, April, good to see you. Sherry, thank you so much. Ladina, Dawn, Pamela, good morning. Matt, Grump, Scott, and many others. Lots of folks. New Jersey governor. Oh, that must have been the other one that was also engaging in that, in the shenanigans. Okay, let me say good morning to the Rumblers. Rumble, Brumbies fan. Nancy K, Joy Duga, Eyes Wide Open, Gritter Done, Social Distortion. Lady Blah Blah, Gary, and many others hanging out online. We appreciate you being here with us, and as well on Getter this morning. Alex, Josh, Princess Santos, Tanya, GMC Caleb, R. Reagan. Doug, good to see you, brother. Hope the road is safe for you and your travels are well. C. McCracken, AF veteran. Lots of folks joining in today. Appreciate you being here with us. Let's check in with Trent, ready for a segment of Tech Talk Tuesday. Good morning, Trent. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, Justin. Doing good. Morning, Justin.
You look good and you sound good, as always. Hang on one second. We'll be right back with you. Lots to discuss in Tech Talk. Day 8 of our 21 days of prayer today. Pastor Ralph Rebandt joins us coming up a little bit later on in the show as well. Lots of prayer. The prayer warriors tonight, I would suggest praying for Tudor Dixon tonight as she faces probably one of her, maybe the most important debate performance of her life at this point. Yeah, it'll be a big one. It'll be a big one. That is for sure. Second, I'll check it in. Good morning, Rebecca. How are you? Appreciate you being here with us, too. All right. Oh, by the way, if you don't know about this yet, all the hoodies at the store, justinbarkley.com, are $10 off with coupon code FALL. You can even get this in hoodie form. The t-shirt. Donkey pox, the disease killing America is the tagline at the bottom. And you got a flag on the side, too. So, yeah, you can grab your... You can grab your hoodie. Hoodie weather is upon us. 58 right now. It looks like we're getting up to 67 today. So still a little warmer. Things are cooling off. Going back into it. Is the debate tonight? Yes, it will be, Gwen. It will be. Again, debate party happening. Ottawa County Patriots. I know they're having one in Newaygo at Jimmy's Roadhouse. There are debate parties all over. Post yours in the comments. Maybe folks can come out and get organized and come hang out with each other. Facebook keeps freezing up. You can watch Gwen over on Rumble. JustinBarkley.com/Rumble. Stand by. Here we go. Back on the air. Appreciate you being here with us. Yes, we are locked and loaded. Lots to discuss. We are day 8 in our 21 days of prayer. In fact, you can join us in this prayer if you want to. I mean, it will happen again today on the radio. Pastor Ralph Rebandt will be here praying for the candidates that are running. Of course, that we take this state back, take the nation back, and that we fight against these proposals. The proposals are the most evil. You can see them all. Of course, if you go online, you can do some research to look into some of these, but MichiganSaysNo.com has a pretty good list of these. Trent Kanibi joining us right now for a version of Tech Talk, Affordable iStore, Lake Michigan Drive in Standout. Trent, coming in.
And how it affects you and your world. This is Tech Talk Tuesday on Wood Radio's West Michigan Live.
Got a couple of important tech stories that have come out this week. Trent, appreciate you being here with us. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, Justin. Good morning.
You know, one of the first stories off the bat that we had came out just a couple of days ago. A judge has ruled that Fauci and Psaki can be deposed in a big lawsuit. In fact, this is one of the biggest lawsuits we've seen in social media in a while. This is the lawsuit that the attorneys general of a few different states have decided to file on behalf of their citizens because of these social media companies they claim were working to censor not just the folks in their states, their content, but many other people, so they couldn't get the real truth on what was happening. And what they allege is that Fauci and Psaki and folks within the White House, within government, were actually working together to censor the information that was available to people. Now, a lot of people talk about free speech and you can't say this. And, you know, if a big tech platform wants to censor what you say, or if they want to, if they want to, you know, be able to control that speech on a play, they should be able to do that to private business. But the problem comes, and we have a real First Amendment issue, is when they private business colludes with government to make those decisions. And that's part, I know you're not an attorney, but that's part of what we're seeing here. In fact, we've heard a lot in past about how big tech, whether it be social media sites like Twitter or Facebook, even TikTok now, may have colluded with government to shape narratives and to stop people from getting certain pieces of the story.
Justin, it's interesting. Free speech, we're all obviously proponents of free speech here, but it's interesting where social media platforms and free speech combined with actual government held positions. So these people are in positions of power, positions of authority. They're supposed to be scientists, experts, and it looks like allegedly they're peddling misinformation. And these are the ones that are accusing everybody else of misinformation, and they're doing it in some sort of an official form with certain influencers on social media. So to me, this looks like a really sticky mess that the courts are going to have to figure out who's guilty, where free speech and private life, personal life crosses with actual paid for government officials in their official capacity to do their job. And I'm very interested to see if the courts can escape the political bias of these issues and actually make a clean, clear case where people on either side of the aisle see this as, if it all pans out, as complete lies, misinformation in a criminal sense.
You know, it should be concerning to everybody, no matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. When you find out that big corporations are colluding with a government and their organization to push the narrative or to stop you from finding out about what's going on out there, it should be concerning to all of us, right? Because in order for this democracy thing to work that they love to talk about, but in order for this thing to work, this freedom thing, this experiment to work, we've got to have all of the information. And we've got to have a good handle on it all. What's really disturbing here is another piece that was just put out. In fact, this is making the rounds on TikTok, of all places, the Chinese app, because it's from China. This particular piece is a woman who is involved with the UN. She's at a World Economic Forum meeting, and she is talking about how they influenced the influencers. In fact, they helped create some of these people online, particularly on TikTok. These were scientists, she calls them, who then they actually paid and helped them reach, it looks like, some sort of prevalence online particularly on this app, to get the word out about certain things. And this was during the pandemic. Listen to this startling revelation.
They were much more trusted than the United Nations telling them something from New York City headquarters. So, and finally, we had another trusted messenger project, which was called Team Halo, where we trained scientists around the world and some doctors on TikTok, and we had TikTok working with us. And these scientists who had virtually no following to start with, got verified ticks. They started bringing people in their community into their labs, into their offices, and answering their questions, engaging with them. It really took off, and many of them became kind of like national media go-to advisors, and so it was a layered deployment of ideas and tactics.
Now that is a startling revelation that they behind the scenes were able to do some of these things and shift the narrative, shift what you might see and what you might hear, coordinating with big tech platforms. This has probably always been happening, but Trent, we have people telling us they're doing it. What's a good rule of thumb, whether it be, what you're looking at on a daily basis? Because we had a conversation about this yesterday. Somebody was asking about trusted sources and things like that. But what's a good rule of thumb for you? And maybe, as parents too, when you're talking about what you see online with your kids, how do you know what to trust, Trent?
Justin, it's difficult in today's world of deep fakes. All these different algorithms online are pushing specific content. Like in this case, it looks like a clear example where the algorithms and the social media platforms work to artificially hype these people that aren't even experts, that aren't doctors, that are not supposed to be trusted for their content. And I think people need to understand that social media is just that. It's social media. It's people talking. And we hear people talking all the time. And we have to discern. We have to use common sense. We have to use time. I think that's another issue we have with social media. People aren't willing to give it time. They just formulate opinion. They make it fit their narrative, or they say, "Oh, this is fake news because it doesn't fit my narrative." We need to use time, common sense, and we need to use our community, our people that are live and in person first to help verify these things. Because it is difficult, Justin. You go up the chain, these people that you've never met, you've never seen. It's difficult to verify that.
Yeah, and I think to your point, it's not just people talking, but it could be people who are being paid to talk or are being influenced to talk in a certain way. And so when you come into those conversations, you are stumbling upon things that you may think might be just absolutely organic, but at the end of the day, they're not. In fact, a big conversation about this Chinese spies and what might be happening and to influence elections or other things or investigations happening particularly in the scheme of things. This is from CNN, but from all places. Now somebody got on me yesterday. I don't believe this because it came from CBS. Well, I show you different stories from different places all the time so that you can see different perspectives and know that if even CNN is talking about it, or if even CBS is talking about something, might be something to that, and we should take a look at it. But this story is interesting. Alleged Chinese spies charged with trying to recruit assets to obstruct an investigation to a Chinese tech company.
Justin, this is a crazy story we've been following for years, but Huawei has been charged with all sorts of different things over the years. There's a large history there that's still unfolding. In this case, there's some spies for the Chinese government that have been sent here and paid for to actually try to influence some of the court cases, some of the public protests, and help in that fashion to combat these lawsuits and this defamation that's coming for Huawei as a company. But what happened is our government, thanks to the agencies there that are actually functioning, working well, and doing their job, they actually posed as double agents and caught these guys, and they convicted them. They're going to convict them soon. They have tons of evidence. So it's another lesson that these people are infiltrating our country. They're trying to influence our country. Yes, these particular guys got caught, but how many are not getting caught? How many are working to influence or even bribe officials or pay off people for these kind of national security risk of this story is incredible. And if people are not familiar with the Huawei company, I'd recommend that they Google that, search that, and read what that story is about.
Yeah, China, a major threat, and some of the things that we're learning or seeing are even more striking. The news we had yesterday. Okay, one last story. We've seen inflation go through the roof. We've seen people now striking in different places saying, I'm not getting paid enough money, and I don't blame them in a lot of cases. Starbucks is one of those places, and they already pay these folks pretty well, particularly for what they do, too, making you fancy coffees. But they have now announced something pretty interesting, and I wonder if this not maybe part of where things are headed anyway. They're announcing automation that may get rid of some of these people, these workers who are complaining they're not getting paid enough. Maybe this is what Starbucks wants, because at the end of the day, they can just replace these folks with robots.
Justin, I'm not against technology, robotic workers, things of that nature. We need technology to push us forward. Think of, how much cars are made with robots and technology already, and they do a really good job of it. But when you come down to the culture shift of a local coffee shop, I don't know if you could necessarily call Starbucks that because it seems to be a large commercialized place, but we need to retain that culture where you have local people, serving local food at a restaurant, and you have that relationship of where your food comes from, how it's being made. That's something that we need to maintain in our culture and fight against technology where it overtakes that and it just makes us more big tech dependent. It just gets rid of that personal touch where we as people, we need that. We live on that. We thrive on that. We talk about social media in the digital world. We need social norms in our families and our communities, and technology can definitely put a dent in that. Some of it's progress, yes. Some of it's just stuff that needs to be avoided.
I just wonder too, like if Starbucks isn't behind some of this stuff, because these companies do want to bring in automation in a lot of places, and really the only way to do that. Now I'm getting my tinfoil hat out for this. But one of the best ways to make that happen, and to happen as quickly as they can, is if they have people who are protesting and saying you're not paying me enough, and then they don't show up to work and they close stores down and they say, well, we've got no choice. We've just got to automate some of these positions. Now, I know, Trent, you don't have a tinfoil hat there, so it'd be tough for you to comment on this. I just find it interesting. Always a pleasure, my friend. Always fun having these conversations. Ready to talk tech with you. And, of course, anytime you have a question about any sort of situation, whether it be your device or maybe security, it's your business or your home, give Trent a call. He'd love to hear from you. Or stop on by the store, Lake Michigan Drive in Standale, Affordable iStore, and Grand River Tech. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Justin. Have a good day.
You got it. God bless. Day 8 of our 21 days of prayer, and it's a big one. It's a doozy. The debate happening tonight. We'll share with you Pastor Ralph Reban here to pray with us coming up next. If you want to join our prayer call to action, justinbarclay.com/prayer, where you can see some of the past prayers, find out what we're doing, and spread the word. We are back after this, folks. West Michigan Live on Wood Radio. Will you tip the coffee robot? Well, it depends. It depends on whether or not they beg for them. Some of the places I see tips now, and I try to be as if I can, I try to be. But there are some places where you see like a tip jar out for something, and you'll go, what in the world? Some places robots can work, but in some certain places it will not work, but has to be limited in some areas. I think eventually their idea, why they're trying to push for the automated cars, for the electric cars, and particularly the trucks, I think part of the reason is I think it's automation. I think they want these trucks automated. Look, that's a whole nother conversation for maybe the after show at some point. But if the goal of the Great Reset or the goal of these people at some point is a living way, they want to give everybody universal income and you just be paid to sit around and really do nothing because they'll be able to replace you with AI and robotic technology, automation, things like that, which is really the direction we're headed in. They've got to figure out a way to do it because, they don't want to do anything slow. You notice the electric vehicles and some of these things, smart, whatever they call them, some of these things might be interesting ideas. But it takes time.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but...
We got an interruption from a commercial. It takes time to ramp up into that stuff if you want to do it correctly. This jumping to it is a whole nother issue. And you notice their whole motto is never let a good crisis go to waste, right? Never let a good crisis go to waste. That's what they want to do. So they take advantage of these crises and multiple. Now we are a nation of crises. Biden's the administration of crises, one after the other. There's nothing, there's never that's why I say it's like drinking from a fire hose. There's always something to move the ball down the field. They've always got to have some sort of thing to push you. So eventually they'll have some sort of crises that pushes us into the electric and automated trucks. They'll take the truck drivers off the road. There'll be people that sit in them to monitor them at first. But eventually they will just get rid of them altogether. Think about that. Same with these other places. I mean, I went to do a restaurant the other day and they didn't have it was dinner time rush. I just wanted a beverage. I wanted to get a pop and I couldn't even get the line was just backed up. Hang on, folks. Got to get back on the air. Stand by. Lots to discuss. I got to tell you, we have so much. We can't ever get to everything. That's why we created the after show. It is the show after the show, folks. It happens coming up at 10 this morning. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, all those usual places. And you can join us there as we continue our conversations after the fastest hour in radio has flown by. In fact, Pastor Ralph Rebound here is to close us out. We've been doing this for the past few days. In fact, we're on day 8 now, 21 days of prayer. Pastor Ralph, you understand the importance of the power of prayer. And I just think also you have a unique understanding, too, of this election and why not just the folks we're voting on, but the proposals we may be voting against to defeat as well, why it's so important, why we need to join together. It's a spiritual fight. We really ought to recognize that. I think a lot of us do, but we're coming together to engage in this. And I was just, I'd be honored if you'd maybe walk us through day 8 in a bit of a prayer with us.
Well, Justin, I am thankful that you've asked me to do this. I know, as you just said, how important prayer is. I mean, I've seen specific answers to prayer in my life, and I know other people have who are listening to this. And when we realize that we're talking to the God of the universe and we're able to call him our Father and that he cares for us so much, it really transforms our approach to prayer and our approach in his presence. So I'm happy to start praying anytime. I know this ends at 10. So I don't know how long you would like me to pray, but I love praying and I love talking to my Heavenly Father. So you just tell me what you'd like me to do.
I'd say we probably got about a minute or two, and just do as the Spirit leads you. We'll figure it out from there.
All right, that sounds great. All right, let's pray together. Father, as we bow our heads before you, we know that you have raised up America. We know that, as Ben Franklin said, is it possible for a sparrow to fall to the ground without your notice, that a nation could rise without your aid? And we are humbled today to be in America, to know that you have set us apart, that as people who have begun our nation on Judeo-Christian principles, we understand right and wrong. We understand life and death. And we understand, most importantly, that you create life in the womb. And at conception, there is a person. You knew us before we were ever born. And Father, as this evil, wicked proposal 3 is on the ballot, we would humbly ask that you would give a tsunami of victory, that you would wake up not only Christians to vote, to get out and vote against this, but Lord, the law of God that's been written on people's hearts, they may not even be professing believers in you, but they have a sense, they have a conscience of right and wrong. And we would just ask that in your good pleasure, your common grace would once again be shed on this nation, and especially in our state, as we have evil leadership in the state and people who are thinking that they can vote on what is life and what is not life, when you have so clearly spoken that you are the one who gives life at conception. And so I pray not only for that, but for us as parents, that we would retain our individuality and our leadership and love for our children. We pray, God, that the state would not have any say in that, and that you would just bring all of these really wacko lunatic ideas to an end, Lord. And I pray that it would begin with us as Christians and us as people who understand right and wrong, that we might see once again a turn toward righteousness, a turn toward your will. That, Lord, we know that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when evil rulers are in place, the people groan. And Lord, you know how we have been groaning over the last several years here in Michigan and even in America. So we pray that you would hear our prayer. And I thank you for Justin's program. I pray that you would bless his outreach as well. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pastor Ralph Rematch, thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining us today. In day 8 of our 21 days of prayer, we know how important this election is. We are just 2 weeks away. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Appreciate you too, Justin. Keep up the great work, my brother.
You too. God bless. Pastor Ralph Rematch.
Likewise.
Folks, joining in. If you'd love to join us, go to justinbarkley.com/prayer, and we'll tell you what we're doing and how you can join us. In fact, share this with a friend or two. We're adding people every day. You can always text me to 616-636-1676 and text the word pray to join our prayer list. All right, folks. Lots to get to in the after show. It's coming up. God bless. All righty then. That's Pastor Ralph Rematch. He ran for governor here in Michigan and has united to join us in the fight. He was on the first kickoff of the bus tour, in fact, for the Empower Families, Protect Children bus tour. Pastor Ralph Rematch. We appreciate him joining and being a part of this today. And it's just powerful to see this come together, folks coming together in so many different ways. Hang on one second, folks. I will click a few buttons here. And we'll get things started. Welcome into the after show. It's the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Lots to discuss, lots on the table. There's never a dull moment, folks. We just finished the fastest hour on radio, and now we're on to it. Yeah, lots coming up. In fact, the election denier of all election deniers, denying election that hasn't even happened yet. Tell you what Hillary Clinton had to say coming out. More from that MSDNC panel that slammed the January 6th conversation. Ted Cruz giving it to him on The View. Kamala Harris and Biden, again, doesn't know where he is, what his name is. And some very short but also sad from the Rona report today. Sudden and unexpected pieces and developments. We'll get to you. First, our sponsor for today, the folks at Mentality. You've heard about Mentality. I've been talking to you about these guys for a while now. They're a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. And I got to tell you, as a dad of a 22, soon to be 23-month-old here and her sister on the way any day now, I understand the importance of taking care of myself and doing a better job, trying to do just a little better job every day. I think we all try to do that, right? But you got to really feel your best so you can be your best every day. Men, this is a challenge for us in a lot of ways. We're constantly bombarded. We have so much happening in our lives, and I know you understand this, guys. You want to be the best husband, the best father, and you want to show up in your call. Whatever you are, your work so that you can be the man you're created to be. We're constantly under attack. And I don't have to tell you about that. You've seen it for yourself. Well, maybe you're suffering a little low energy, weight gain, muscle loss. Those things might not be your fault. It turns out could be low testosterone. There are several things, diet, there are several things in your environment, and even stress and age, believe it or not, can play a big role in all of these things. It used to be we just said, there's nothing we can do about this. But turns out there is. Mentality can help. Mentality, a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. They have FDA-approved testosterone treatment solutions, board-certified physicians who work with most insurance. Check out Mentality today at lowtusa.com. Go to low T, the letter T, go lowtusa.com to find out how you can get the help you need to get back on track. Now, I don't mean to get my tinfoil hat out, but we were having this conversation earlier, and one of the things I was showing online was a video of the difference between the JFK phys ed. Remember the JFK phys ed program? And there was video of this. It was a fitness test that the kids had to go through in high school. Particularly, I think it might have been high school seniors that were taking part in this particular this test that they were going through. And I've seen it before, and it's just struck me how interesting it is. In fact, they've got old videos. Bob Hope is in this old video. You gotta see that. I'm gonna show you some of this. Look at this old video. This is old footage found on YouTube. But Bob Hope talking about it.
President John F. Kennedy has a personal message for all of us on this important subject.
I welcome this opportunity to speak to the people of America about a subject which I believe to be most important, and that is the subject of physical fitness. And I speak not only as President of the United States, but also as a parent of 2 children who I hope will grow up with those qualities of vigor and energy.
You know, it's wild to see some of the things that they had these guys doing. I think some of the most interesting is when you see them jumping up and down, you see them doing the aerobics and stuff, and particularly the young men. I call them that because they did not look like the high school seniors anyway. They didn't look like the same kids that we see today. These kids that we see today are all, scrawny and zero testosterone. These are young men. These are high school seniors, and they look like guys. A lot of them had facial hair and some of those things. It's wild. Now, why is there such a difference between the kids from today and yesterday? There are a couple of different reasons for that. You can do your own sort of calculations there. It's why would this happen? This is another great question. Look, I'm not trying to be too much of a conspiracy theorist. I got the tinfoil hat out every now and then. I like to pull it out, and I like to dust it off. But part of the reason why they do this, or part of the reason why we are under attack when it comes to testosterone and when it comes to masculinity, is who fights the fights. If you were going to take on a people or take them out, what would be one of the first things you would do? You would take out some of the strongest. You would want to take out some of the people who would be able to fight against whatever it is that you have planned. Yeah. Isn't that something? Think about that. Now, again, I'm not, I got my tinfoil hat. I got it at the ready. I've got it ready for our conversations we may have later on today. But would it make sense if you were going to take out or enslave a certain population that you would do things to affect or impact the people that can fight back? Some of the most that are under the most attack right now are young men. Terry says they want fat sheep. No video games back then, and so it was a very good point in the chat. Folks are making some great points. You know, I don't know. It could be any number of reasons why we gotten to the point that we are today, and I'll let you speculate on that. But there is a difference. It all started when everyone gets a trophy. Tammy said, "That's funny." A lot of truth to some of that. A lot of truth in some of that. All right, so some of the biggest stories today. UK's new prime minister, he takes office. The midterms 2 weeks away. 35 Senate seats up for grab. Every seat in the House. Debate night tonight. The second between Governor Whitmer and Tutor Dixon. I can't think of a more important evening. 71% say the poll in this country is headed in the wrong direction. We have record number of fentanyl being seized at the U.S.-Mexico border. We just set a record. The country is under attack. I've got some great clips, in fact, of DeSantis from a debate last night. Maybe we'll get into some of those as well. But I want to start with Ukraine. We've been seeing a lot in the story Ukraine lately. The back and forth with Russia, and it seems that there is an all-out push for a World War III. The latest, Russia's claim now that Ukraine could use a, quote, dirty bomb is causing concern. Explosive weapon designed to scatter radioactive material. Russia has used and accused, rather, Ukraine without evidence, they say. So I wonder who wrote that. Without evidence. Without evidence. Who was it? This is brilliant. Who was it that said, without evidence? Unfounded claims. Who was it that started pushing that in the media? It's hilarious because anytime you do that, it tells us, well, is there something to this? Russia has accused Ukraine of planning to detonate a dirty bomb on its own soil. This would draw people into, and they call this a false flag attack. And I'm just reading the story here. I'm not supposing this is coming out of the news. In fact, this story from the Washington Post. Moscow could be using it as an excuse to escalate the conflict, lay the groundwork for, quote, a false flag attack, U.S. officials warned yesterday. So there you have it. Now, that's not my tinfoil. That's a Washington Post with that story. But look at this. A group of 30 liberal House members, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and many others coming out there to call on Joe Biden to shift course in his Ukraine strategy. The narrative is breaking. What's the next thing? What's the next thing, folks? It's breaking down. People are losing patience, and they're saying, we don't want, as you just saw, we have 20,000 troops on the border of Ukraine right now, preparing to fight Russia was the headline that CBS said yesterday. So this is quite an interesting story. There are 30 that have now stepped up. 30. Liberals urge Biden to rethink Ukraine strategy. 30 Democrat Progressive Caucus members from the House sent a letter yesterday asking Joe Biden not to escalate Ukraine. This is from the Washington Post, but instead to resolve the war peacefully. You remember AOC the other day? Those protesters came and they protested right in front of AOC, yelled at her, and said, you're supposed to be a Democrat. Why are you such a war hawk right now? Why are you sending all of this money there? So these are 30 Democrat progressives. And I'll tell you why I think this is important, because now Biden is finally getting hit from the other side. The narrative is shifting. It used to be always support Ukraine at all costs. Well, this whole idea of fighting a new world war is something that they have been pushing for, trying to get us into for the longest time. One of the reasons is, it appears anyway, that they want to distract us any way they can from the absolute reality that we face right now. It's how bad the economy is, how bad everything is that we're facing right now, your cost of everything from gas to groceries. And what happens if we go into a war? We urge you to redouble efforts to seek, and by the way, some of this letter was flattering. Oh, you did such a great job, but now we want you to pivot. We want you to switch. We urge you to redouble efforts to seek a realistic framework for a ceasefire. The alternative to diplomacy is a protracted war with both its attendant certainties and catastrophic and unknown risks. We urge you to make vigorous diplomatic efforts in support of a negotiated settlement and ceasefire. Engage in direct talks with Russia. So in other words, they want to cut Ukraine out. Explore prospects for a new European security arrangement acceptable to all parties that will allow for a sovereign and independent Ukraine, and in coordination with our Ukrainian partners, seek a rapid end to the conflict and reiterate the goal America's chief priority. So now Democrats are even stepping up, 30 of them in the House. Now, again, it is an election year. So they may just be stepping up to say, wait a minute, and this also might be 30 that don't have any investments over in Ukraine, 10% for the big guy. No, I find it kind of interesting. What are your thoughts on this? I find it kind of interesting. Yep. Another piece of information that you probably won't hear anywhere else. I mean, all these other mainstream, and they're pretty pro-war right now. They're pretty pro-conflict with Ukraine and Russia. There are a lot of people voting Republican right now. I mentioned this earlier. 70% say the country is heading in the wrong direction, against 71 now. There's a lot of these floating around online, people online posting to Twitter saying, I just voted straight R, which I have never done in my life. I voted today for every kid I admitted to a psych facility, tutored in classes when schools were closed, cried with over missed opportunities, and to prevent a mandated vaccine. I voted for kids today. In fact, this is on Coffee and COVID website. Jeff Childers writes Coffee and COVID. If you haven't seen today's edition, this is the latest, and he's got a list of these people. Now, I find quite interesting. These are all pulled from Twitter. Now, who knows? Are these real people? Are they bots? I don't know, but I just found it anecdotally very interesting to look at. And I'll let you take a look at what some of these are saying. After years of voting Democrat, voting Republican still feels simultaneously naughty and liberating. I voted Republican all the way for the first time ever. I can't take any more of your threats. This is a response to Joe Biden. Mandates and restrictions you force upon us. Also, you still won't let travelers outside of the U.S. who are not jabbed into the country. I can't wait till your short term is over. Here's another one. I voted for the first time ever in my 33 years, and I voted Republican. Seems to be the only party encouraging people to take some personal responsibility. Abortion shouldn't need to happen because we've got Plan B now, she said. In response to a tweet from a Reiner, I have voted Democrat all my life, but the first time I am voting straight Republican. I believe the party that once stood for freedom is now a socialist communist party. I did not abandon my party. My party abandoned me. This Latino Texan voted Republican down the entire ballot for the first time in his life. Feels expletive amazing. There are so many of these he's got listed in today's version. It's really interesting. And they go back just a couple of weeks. Elon Musk is voting red, too. He's decided he is voting red. He voted Republican for the first time in Texas congressional race. Predicts a massive red wave in 2022. Saying on Twitter that he voted for Mayra Flores in Texas and the first time I ever voted Republican. Wow, folks. There's something happening. Something happening. I don't know what exactly it is, but it's something big. Coffee and COVID Chef Children's notes. In fact, the trend is so obvious that there's a counter trend of folks claiming to be Republicans voting Democrat for the first time because Joe Biden, he says, and I am not making this up, is one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. You can see all of the tweets appear to be very similar in nature. Here's Wimmy Jimmy saying, Joe, as a proud conservative Republican, I got to admit that you're one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. You've built back better after 4 years of Trumpian darkness, the worst period in human history, and you're leading us to a shining city on a hill onwards to 2024. By the way, do you see all of these different accounts? They're all saying the same thing. Word. They're all saying the same thing. Elon's got a bot problem over there at Twitter. He knows. You know, we shared with you earlier one of the issues, one of the problems. I don't know if you realized how serious what that woman from the UN was saying, the World Economic Forum earlier. She's saying we established influencers. We made these people influencers. We own them on TikTok. They did it with COVID. I would assume they're probably doing it with Ukraine. They're probably doing it with this issue. Speaking of robots, these folks are crazy. And they want you to think that these people are, and these are all bots, by the way. They want you to think they're real. According to his user stats, Wimmy Jimmy, who we just showed you there, joined August 2021, but only has 23 followers and is only following 31 others. Here are some of his other proud conservative tweets. Arrest MAGA Republicans. Of course. And then this is his response to Biden. I speak for everyone when I say you're the reason this country will prosper. Thank you, Joe Biden, for your service. It's almost disgusting how filthy some of this is. Which one do you think is real? The trend of Dems voting Republican for the first time, or these fake robots? This isn't the only interesting piece out there. I showed you the MSDNC panel. I showed you the CBS focus group, Go Woke, Go Broke. They said, look, they agreed on every issue, Democrats and Republicans. This is going to be scary. This election is going to be scary for Democrats. In fact, they're already out there pushing a narrative. The election deniers are already out denying the election that hasn't even occurred yet. In 2024, Hillary Clinton is already at it. This is what she had to say just yesterday. She won't go away. This one just won't go away.
The 2022 midterm elections, and they are incredibly important. But we also have to look ahead, because you know what? Our opponents certainly are. Right-wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election. And they're not making a secret of it. The right-wing controlled Supreme Court may be poised to rule on giving state legislatures, yes, you heard me that correctly, state legislatures the power to overturn presidential elections. Just think, if that happens, the 2024 presidential election could be decided not by the popular vote or even by the anachronistic Electoral College, but by state legislatures, many of them Republican controlled.
So By the way, that's constitutional. So what she's saying is that the Supreme Court could, because Supreme Court's conservative now, and this is a problem. No, they're weighing in on the Constitution. So I want you to just take a step back and realize what this is. We've told that Republicans are election deniers. Here we have the election denier of all election deniers out there denying an election that has yet to even take place in 2024. It's almost like they know how bad it's going to be. There's nothing they can do to stop it. Yet maybe they can push this narrative, this story, this idea that whatever happens, well, they must have cheated. That had to be it, right? Just Republicans cheating. Oh, what else is out there? Oh yeah, Biden doesn't even know his own name. By the way, we're supposed to think that this guy got the most votes in the history. It's already tough enough to think that he carries the nuclear codes. But this guy got the most votes in the history of the country in presidential election.
And happy birthday to a great president. We know your mom's always with you.
He just told Kamala happy birthday and called her the president. Yet you cannot deny the cognitive issues with this resident. You can't deny them. It is really, really bad stuff. All right, before we get to a Rona report, last night debate, mopping the floor with Charlie Crist, Governor Ron DeSantis doing basically
Charlie's interested in talking about 2020
a master class in debating. This is one of the best lines of the whole night.
Well, listen, I know that Charlie's interested in talking about 2024.
He wanted to see if he could get DeSantis. Chris was trying to get DeSantis to say he wasn't going to run in 24. Great response.
Joe Biden, but I just want to make things very, very clear. The only worn out old donkey I'm looking to put out to pasture is Charlie Crist. And you want to talk about standing up for taxpayers. When Charlie
Chris has got a smile on his face too. He knows that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh man, he can't deny it. He's like, okay, you got me there.
Chris was governor. He ran saying he would not raise taxes. He became governor, and he signed off on the largest increase in taxes and fees in the history of the state of Florida.
Chris was governor. In fact, I think he might have been governor. I lived down there back in like 2004 or something. Yeah, he wants to run again. I think people say, no way. Ron DeSantis, there is no way. It's not even going to be close. It won't even be close. Speaking of the debates, there was one last night. Ted Cruz, or yesterday, I should say yesterday morning, so to speak. One on The View that got kind of heated. Ted Cruz, got to give him, I got to give him credit.
I'll say number one.
Ladies of The View. I mean, if you would say, why would you want to go on there? Well, I mean, if they'll let you come on. Give him the opportunity to give them a little dose of reality. The audience hearing some things they probably never heard before.
Well, I'll say number one, if you talk to people across the country, as I'm doing, I'm in the middle of a 17-state national bus tour right now. People are hurting. Lives of working men and women across this country have gotten really hard. They're seniors who've seen their 401ks drop 20, 25, 30% in the last 2 years, who can't afford food and rent and their mortgage. They can't afford basic expenses. And people are upset. I mean, the highest inflation in 40 years is making people's lives a lot harder. When you see someone wait in line to fill up the tank on their gas and they can't fill it up, they got to put $10 or $20 in. People are hurting. And I think if you look at the polls in pretty much every state in the country, inflation's the number one issue. Crime is the number two issue, and illegal immigration is the number three issue. And in all three of those, this administration's agenda has been a train wreck. Well, I'll say number one, if you talk to people across the country.
It got contentious. It got hot and heated. Got so hot, climate change protesters were in the studio and they had to stop the taping for a while. I guess, is it done live? From the high priest of health, Mr. Booster, Dr. Tony Fauci. Patrons say of pandemics. A Rona report worth waiting for today. It's Biden's booster. Do you know that today is Biden's booster day? Biden's booster day. He's getting his booster, everybody. Going so excited. He gets to get poked today. Oh, this is really something. CNN reporting people who experienced fever, chill, or muscle pain after receiving the jab tend to have a greater antibody response. I read this morning and I had to do a bit of a double take. It's evil. I will go into further depth on this here in just a moment, but what they're saying is that people that are having adverse reactions, they're pushing the idea that people that have had adverse reactions to the jab, it means that it's just working better. Oh, you're having an adverse reaction. Well, that means that yours is just working better. You're one of the lucky ones. CNN pushing this idea today that people who experienced adverse events or side effects like fever, chills, or muscle pain after receiving the jabs tend to, they say, quote, have greater antibody response, according to a study, than those who had no symptoms at all. But then they go on to say, but if your arm wasn't sore after the shot, don't worry. The jab still works. The Fauci ouchie, the hokey pokey, it still elicits robust immune responses. You notice that. It doesn't say it works. They say robust immune responses. Oh, you're getting some responses, all right. They say regardless of the side effects, you're having some robust immune responses. Some folks having some really robust immune responses. Some very tragic, some sudden and unexpected robust immune responses. Coffee and COVID's Jeff Childers broke the news about Megyn Kelly and reports her sister, 58, died this weekend from a sudden and unexpected heart attack. He said Megyn has always been pretty steadily pro-jab, but this month came out as very skeptical. And part of the reason is, I could be, at least I read that she had talked about her sister experiencing issues, health problems over the last, recent days. Whatever it is, pray for her and her family. You hate to see this happen to anyone, but again, we have heart issues, and so that begs the question to ask. Craig Lewis, band member and America's Got Talent finalist, Zuri Craig, 44, died suddenly, unexpectedly Friday. No cause of death has been released. And then also Friday, British TV and theater actress Josephine Melville suddenly and unexpectedly died backstage. Yeah, there's another one today, too. And I don't have the full details on this one, so I can't really tell you exactly what happened. But Leslie Jordan, who is an actor that if you saw him, you would recognize him. Many of the stories I'm finding on him are hard to find the truth on because they're saying things like, well, the cause of death we're not really sure of right now. Or the cause of he's not, died suddenly and unexpectedly. He was in a car crash. But look at the headline from Yahoo Entertainment. Leslie Jordan killed in car crash after suffering medical emergency. He was only 67. Now, I think he looks a lot older than what he was. And he's been around, and I say that because he's kind of been around in this typecast role for a while now. Leslie Jordan, they say the beloved actor, writer, and singer has died at the age of 67. TMZ reports that Jordan died Monday after suffering a medical emergency and crashing his car into the side of a building. A native of Chattanooga, Tennessee, Jordan was perhaps best known for his standout performances as Earl, Brother Boy Ingram, in the stage production and subsequent big screen adaptation of Sordid Lives. He was also a celebrated TV actor, notably gaining fame for his Emmy-winning role as Karen's frenemy, Beverly Leslie, in Will and Grace. Additionally, he starred in Hearts of Fire and multiple roles in Ryan Murphy's anthology series American Horror Story. I'm familiar with him. He's had a very popular TikTok account as of recently. There's no telling whether or not he was jabbed or not or whatever may have occurred, but he suffered a medical emergency. Now he's 67 years old, so that's possible. But, we have a lot of celebrities, a lot of folks lately dying suddenly and unexpectedly. And more than anything else, I think the worst part about all of this is that you cannot talk about any of this. You can't ask questions about any of these things. And if you do, you are the problem. You are a wacky conspiracy theorist. Now, I've got one more today, and it is freaky. It is freaky. I don't know if this is a robust immune response that she's experiencing, but Katy Perry, singer, on stage at one of her concerts, and it appears at some eye is malfunctioning. Look at this and see if you can figure this one out. Try not to pay attention to the outfit. I know that this is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. But watch her right eye. Let's reach up and kind of fix it. What is that?
Make even more noise for my band.
What is happening with the eye? There have been people asking questions on it. I think it's fair to ask questions about this. Is the Hodge twins on Twitter saying she got the Pfizer eye? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, folks. It just again, you're not allowed to talk about any of this. You're not allowed to ask any questions about any of this. These are horrific stories, and you're just not allowed to discuss any of it. Bell's palsy? Yeah. Either lash glue, gluing her eyes shut, or maybe a stroke, somebody's saying here on the chat. Could be a jab response, or her false eyelashes or lash extensions could have gotten stuck, which happens. So I agree. This is a weird thing about her. Watch her touch the side of her face. It's all right. Any idea? I don't know. Maybe she's pulling her skin back so that the eye will open up a little bit more. I don't know. Ladies with the makeup, you may be a little bit better at figuring some of this stuff out than me. And listen, I'm not saying that every time it's always going to be what we think it is, but at the end of the day, where there's smoke, there tends to be fire. She's got the eye of the Pfizer is what's trending on Twitter right now. So in case you don't know, folks, that is a song. Katy Perry's got a song called Eye Eye of the Tiger, is that right? So Twitter never disappoints with some of this stuff. Twitter never disappoints. I don't know. Look, I don't mean to laugh at, at anyone having any sort of weird issues or any robust immune responses, as CNN would put it. But it is, it does make us, and it should. It should make us pause and ask questions. It really should. The sign, yes, that's from the song "Roar." I think I might have it. I don't know. I probably can't play it because then we're going to get dinged for copyright. But there she is. A really crazy video. If you haven't seen this, this is not a Runner Report piece, but this goes back to parents. This goes back to what you're seeing with issues in schools right now and kids. And this is a really sad and dangerous story. But this is a story, I think it was out of North Carolina, I want to say. Volleyball, a biological male playing volleyball with a girls' team, and he spikes a ball. Did you see the video? Spikes the ball and then apparently gives another girl who's playing against him on another team concussion when the ball hits her right in the. It's a tough video to watch, but it is a video that you probably might want to watch just so you can see and understand and see the difference of what's happening in North Carolina now. The story is developing. There's more of this coming out now. But here's what happened. There's a girls volleyball game happening. One of these players is a biological male. It's this one right here. The one that's bigger than everybody else on the court and looks like could be an adult or a coach. Bam. Here comes the ball. It's going to come down and smack one of these players in the face. Oh. That is, oof. That's tough to watch. Oh, man. Now, this player, the girl, has a concussion now. And the school, and in fact, it's not just a school, but it's the entire North Carolina district where this school is pulling out of playing against this other school that has the biological male playing on the team. According to Education First Alliance, the Hiawassee student, a biological girl, received severe head and neck injuries as a result of the incident, which has given the long-term concussion symptoms, including problems with her vision. This girl is yet to be cleared for play by her physician or a neurologist. In a 5-1 vote, the Cherokee County Board of Education canceled all remaining games against Highlands High due to the injury and declared it a safety issue. I can see why. Education First Alliance wrote, the perspective of a longtime coach swayed Cherokee board member Joe Wood. I'll never put a child in a position to be seriously injured, Wood said. I think the odds of injury in these non-contact sports aren't high, but in particular in this meeting, a coach of 40 years said they'd never seen a hit like this. That was really what sealed the decision, at least on my part. The coach noted that they had never seen a hit like this before. The competitive advantage issue certainly has to come up in any scenario with that type of transgender conversation, per se, said board vice chair Jeff Martin. I can tell you that the board wasn't searching out this kind of thing. It was brought to our attention based on safety concerns. Speaking into regards to the transgender student, board member Jeff Tatham said, the biggest thing for us, especially after seeing the video of the injury, we felt very strongly that it was a safety concern. I think most of the board members also felt like there's a competitive disadvantage. And of course, they're right. That is based on fact. That is based on reality, not feelings. There are safety concerns. Parents are right to have those, not just when it comes to particularly these sports, but also when it comes to scenarios of biological males in bathrooms with biological females, in locker rooms with females. There are some very just very bad opportunities, I guess I can say. Positions, predicaments that these young girls are being put in, and they should never be. As a father of one and another one on the way of two daughters, I would never allow this. I would never allow this. And for what? So we can feel better about ourselves, so we're so tolerant and we're so look at us, so compassionate. This is just insanity. It's people being disconnected from reality. If adults want to do whatever adults want to do in their own time and they're not hurting anyone else, that's a completely different story. I may not agree with it. But in this situation, we have children who, if we as parents or educators, authority figures, if we're to do anything, it's to protect our children. And if we're not doing that, we are missing the mark. We are signing off on child abuse. This is a major moment, folks. It's not just Republicans. No matter what you hear from the talking heads in the media, no matter what you hear from the crazy, wacky mainstream media folks, and of course the politicians, what we are talking about right now, what we are talking about is a bipartisan issue. What I played from you earlier from CBS, they sat down with these people trying to get a take on things. Republicans and Democrats feel the very same way about a lot of these issues that are happening with our kids in schools. And we're going to put an end to it. Tudor Dixon joins us tomorrow morning live on the radio. You can be here with us at 9:35 for the latest. Yes, big debate tonight. A couple of different watch parties. You can join me at Ottawa County Patriots meeting tonight at Lighthouse Baptist. Doors open at 5:30, ottawacountypatriots.org. Lots of folks joining us. John Gibbs will be there. Ryan Kelly will be there. Pat Colbeck joining. And yes, as always, get a chance to shake hands and have conversations, meet people, get a chance to see you if you want to come out in person. And they're doing a debate watch party at 7 tonight. A couple of those going on. Saw a few flying around in the chat. Love to see you tonight if you can make it out. We'll cover it all tomorrow. Big night. Be in prayer. Our 8th day, the day number 8 in our 21 days of prayer. We'll put that up online too a little bit later on today at justinbarclay.com/prayer. Make it a great day, folks. God bless. I've been telling you about food shortages. We know that the shortages that are happening right now with diesel, we're just 25 days. We have just 25 days of diesel fuel in supply, according to reports that we talked about this story just the other day. Folks, we don't know what's coming our way. It would be smart. It would be wise to get prepared. PrepareWithJustin.com. You can get storable food that lasts up to 25 years right now. So you could save $1,000 on a mega 1-year emergency food supply. You're thinking, I don't really need that much. Well, that's okay. They can give you smaller amounts too. Save 25% on the Protein All-Stars 10 number 10 can kit. They got a deal where you can save $250 on a 3-month emergency food supply. It's all great. It lasts 25 years on the shelf life, 2,000 calories a day. And here's the best part. It ships free and fast, and you can get more from the folks at My Patriot Supply with preparewithjustin.com. Go to preparewithjustin.com. Grab something for yourself. Start thinking about it, whether it's something that you get from the folks at My Patriot Supply or just start thinking about these things. You need to think about it, folks, for you, for your family, for your loved ones. That's right. These things matter. It's time to start taking action. Preparewithjustin.com. Help support the folks who support us, My Patriot Supply, today.